Bednar, repeatedly in meetings that you've held here in the Philippines, on occasion, you've held up the For the Strength of Youth pamphlet and referred to it. That had a significant impression on a young women's president in Manila following one of those meetings. She recounted how when the new For the Strength of Youth pamphlet came out, she couldn't wait to read it, to read all of the ways that it would teach her how to be a better young women's president and a better mother. She said she was surprised when she first read, and she thought to herself, where are the answers? And as she studied it, she tried to learn more and more and more. As the first president, she said, as the first presidency's comment in the beginning of the pamphlet began to take root in her heart, she began to understand a little bit more. But she never really understood until she heard you talk about how the For the Strength of Youth pamphlet is a manifestation of the kind of trust we should have, the kind of confidence we should have in God's children. It is a manifestation of that. Can you help us understand, as parents, as leaders of the youth, how this can help us to better understand the youth and the children among us? We have a great thing happening, a great miracle in the Philippines. Our youth are strong, and they're becoming the strongest demographic in terms of full tithe payers among us. It's remarkable. Can you help us understand more?
If you'll let me hold that. Thank you. Everyone who can hear our voices tonight in this chapel and throughout the Philippines can quote a statement by the prophet Joseph Smith. I teach them correct principles and they govern themselves. That's what this is. You'll find the principles, and a principle is a guideline. A gospel principle comes from the doctrine of Christ, and it is a guideline that helps you as an agent determine for yourself what you should and should not do. President Nelson once talked about how, as a young man, he made a long list of all the things he thought he should do and should not do on the Sabbath day. Very long checklists. And he said, and then one day I finally realized that our observance of the Sabbath is a sign to God about how we feel about Him. Now let me repeat that. Our observance of the Sabbath day is a sign to God of how we feel about Him and His Son and His Son's atonement. He said, that's all I needed. I didn't need a long list. He began to simply decide, what sign do I want to send God on the Sabbath day? Doesn't that tell you where to go and where you shouldn't go? Doesn't that tell you what you should do and what you should not do on the Sabbath day? Doesn't that tell you a number of things you might not ordinarily think of that you should do that would honor the Sabbath day? We have gone, brothers and sisters, from the Mosaic law to the law of the gospel. In the previous, For the Strength of Youth, there were 54. Do this, don't do that. Higher and holier. That's what this is. It's a manifestation that the Lord and the Lord's servants trust the young people of the church to learn correct principles and then govern themselves. In a world that grows increasingly wicked, more dark, and more confused, you can't write a book long enough to tell everybody everything they're supposed to do. You can't do it. So teach them correct principles, and then with the help of the Holy Ghost, the compass of the covenants, they will govern themselves. Did I miss your question?
Oh.
Honest?